Here we go. We froze.
Tonight's forecast: a freeze in Birmingham.
There we go. Okay.
There you go. You're back. You're back. Tell the kids don't pick up the landline again.
Over under how many times Boz is going to freeze up during this, Blake?
14.
Oh, that's a big number.
That is a big number. I'm going to take the under. This will make you feel better, Boz, about your stuff not working.
All right.
Here we go, boys.
And it's a great day to be alive. I know the sun's still shining when I close my eyes. There's some hard times in the neighborhood, but why can't every day be just this good?
If I can't get you ready to go, boys, I don't know what will. Blake, what's he talking about?
He's talking about Fuggin.
He wanted to say it. He wanted to.
He's Blake. I'm Ronnie. All the good names are taken. Podcast. And yes, down below us is Bozzolini.
He's here. There he is.
Boz, you haven't been around for a while, so here's your opportunity to tell all the kids that watch this channel where you been.
I've been waiting on y'all to call me. Finally, you did. This past weekend, you said, let's do it.
We have Blake back me up on this. We have a group chat. This is a well-run organization. We got a group chat at least once every 3 days. I'm like, okay, who can do this? And how many texts do we get back, Blake?
It's just me and you.
Everybody's quiet.
I believe him. I definitely believe him about the service.
He's in a subdivision, though. He's in a subdivision where every house is worth $460,000. I mean, how could they have bad internet?
You work in a home price in every podcast.
That's right. That's what we're doing. Today, we're talking, Blake and Boz had an idea. We were going to do a Top X episode of our favorite summer camp movies. And then the debate started, what exactly is a summer camp movie? So we asked AI. AI didn't know what a summer camp movie was because they put The Great Outdoors on the list.
We're talking about practice.
We stuck with our original criteria for a summer camp movie, which is people, preferably kids, at a summer camp for the summer. Got to be there. Can't visit for a day. It's got to be the entirety of the summer.
Does it have to be kids?
It could be adults.
Okay.
They have to be at a summer camp. Yeah. So then the debate went to, we can't name 10. So let's do, even though the show is called Top X, let's just do 5.
Well, I mean, we could name 10, but we don't want to put 8 Friday the 13th on there. It was our point. We wanted to have some variety.
Yeah, I'm sitting here with 3 right now. I'm just going to go ahead and let you guys know. I'm sitting here with 3 right now, and then a list of ones that I don't know which is going to be the other one. Because after we said 5, Boz had a great idea. Let's just do a Mount Rushmore of summer camp movies. And I was like, hey, that's only 4 movies.
Boz, side bet, those 3 he's sitting on, and Meatballs 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, one of them is one of those movies. So, Boz, you owe him $2. There you go. But anyway, we're going to do a Mount Rushmore of summer camp movies. And this should be interesting because I'm going to go ahead and throw my strategy out there right now. My plan was not to put any horror movies in my summer camp Mount Rushmore.
Wow.
We did not have the same plan. I can go ahead and tell you. Spoiler alert.
I'm sitting here with 3. And like I said, that's the plan at the beginning of this show. We'll find out if it sticks that way.
My list is horrible.
So you're going to craft your Mount Rushmore as we go, huh? You're just going to build it as we go.
Yeah, that's what everything I do is on the go.
It's because of you.
I do it for
that's what they,
you.
Boz, that was the strategy when they actually built Mount Rushmore. You think they had these guys in mind when they built it? They didn't even put President Rushmore on there.
That's right.
It looked like they had
Ben Franklin in up there.
A 5th head through there. They didn't do it.
Who would be the 5th head, Boz? Now, that's the topic.
That from the pandemic. No, seriously. Who would be the 5th president?
You got to go Lyndon B. Johnson.
Why?
Because he killed JFK. Right. I mean,
Ronald Reagan?
No. The actor? What about the vacuum cleaner guy?
Hoover.
Hoover.
I commenced you as a effing Hoover.
I feel like John Adams gets no respect. Him and Rodney Dangerfield. I'm talking about Quincy.
Ben Franklin.
Fat. He don't deserve to be on that rock.
They have to spread it out a little bit, get him in there.
It's George Washington. John Quincy Adams. Who was number 3? Thomas Jefferson? Thomas Edison?
Yeah, Thomas Edison. He invented the light bulb, and everybody was so impressed.
Thomas Edison freed the slaves, and he got put on the penny.
Welcome to the Alternative History Podcast. Okay, let's get to it. Blake, lead us off. I even put some visuals down there in the corners of the screen.
I can see it.
Who is your George Washington? Who's the first one on your Mount Rushmore?
Oh, we're starting at the top, huh?
No. There's no particular order. So just go.
Oh, yeah, there is.
And we'll start with your lowest and then work up. We're all going to have the same
I got to
four.
take Great Outdoors off my list, right?
Yes. AI does not know what it's talking about.
Because
AI sucks. Right? Johnny 5 is not alive.
I'm going to go Sleepaway Camp in my number 4 spot. And this is a movie that I was introduced to maybe 3 years ago, Ronnie, on the audio podcast. And I still say it's one of the best swerve endings I've ever had. You see that beautiful on
Edit.
when
I knew the only reason you chose this was for the ending. Oh, look at Angela. She got it.
Boz called me the day he watched that movie and said he can't get the image of that face that she makes at the end out of his head.
One of the weirdest statue things I've ever seen. Like, what is that?
What was she doing at the end of that movie?
I mean, the eyes were like.
Was she on edit?
I think that was hard. Yeah. But, going back to presidents, obviously a Bush supporter, like Boz said. I mean,
yeah.
We're talking about presidents, but yeah, Sleepaway Camp. It's a fun camp movie. You got young kids there. I mean, Ronnie, nobody ever talks about the fact that they kill young kids in this movie. Like, really young kids. I love it. There's lots of nudity in this movie. There's lots of bullying in this movie, which I think is key element to a summer camp movie. I mean, think about that. Yeah. Bullying is very important. Yeah, and then you got the horror element, the whodunit element, and then the surprise dick and balls at the end. It's a great movie.
It is a good movie. It does have it all. Child molesters, old people, male.
Not you, Meg.
Not you, Meg.
Not you, Meg.
Not you, Meg.
I'm going to kill him. It's got fat guy getting soup poured all over him. It's got James Earl Jones' brother in there. Guy wearing a pair of panties the whole movie.
Yes, you got Daisy Dukes. You got Italian running around.
I rocks everywhere.
Said the R word.
And you've got one of the most psychotic characters ever put on film.
The ant.
The ant at the beginning?
The ant, yeah.
What is that?
Oh, dear.
That's one of the creepiest things.
What have I done? I forgot your permission slip.
It's a perfect movie for 2023. So at the beginning of it, you got the and then you got the
yeah, you got playing the ant in the beginning. It's really good.
Boz, what do you have for your first one?
Ronnie, I didn't write anything down.
1978. And Ronnie, I think you've seen this movie. Maybe you haven't.
Tell me.
This was Netflix like 2 years ago. They came out with 3 Fear Street movies.
Oh, Fear Street. Oh, Fear Street. I got you.
Now, there was the first one.
I didn't hear you say the name.
Yeah, the first one set in 2004. Second one, which is this one, the middle one, set in 1978. And then the third one was set in like 1660 or something like that.
It says right here, Boz, all 3 of these movies were made in 2021. The first one it takes place in 1994.
It's good. 94.
The second one is 78, and then the third one is 1666. I've never heard of this. Boz, are these worth checking out, bud? Tell me about it.
They're really not bad. The middle one, this one, 1978, the summer camp one, is I think really good. The acting's good. The story kind of goes. You kind of have to watch them in order though, and they go in reverse. Like the first one is in the 90s, then the 70s, and then like the 1600s. Yes.
No, I was saying that's one freeze. 13 more to go. Get that over.
I didn't catch it. That was a quick one. But it's a horror movie. They're all horror movies. Nasty, brutal killings. But this one's got a really cool. It kind of reminds me of I guess this came out after the third season of Stranger Things, because that one was set in the 80s. Well, they're all set in the 80s, but the whole mall vibe, that look, they did that look for this movie, but outdoors. It's just really done nicely. Third movie's not great at all, but this one's a really good one. It is kind of a whodunit. You don't know why this stuff is happening throughout all three movies until you find out at the end. But it's pretty good.
Is it a time travel movie?
No, it's just set in 3 stages to let you know what the hell's going on. Like the 90s ties into the 78 with a backstory, and the 78 ties into the 1600s Salem story.
Witchcraft stuff. Yes. Any titties in it?
No. Spoiler alert, Boz is loving it because of that ginger from Stranger Things that Darth Nihilus should have destroyed when he lifted her up in the air when they was playing that Kate Bush song.
Yes. She is in it. And it's the same people acting in all 3 movies.
Yeah.
So many references I didn't get right then.
My first one, Blake, Heavyweights.
Great pick.
It's really an elite pick because it's one of the tip-top summer camp movies. It's about a fat camp, so you can't go wrong there looking at all fat people. And then when you mix in the fact that Ben Stiller, who's the son of a really rich guy, buys the camp so he can sell an infomercial, and he's got the caddy from Happy Gilmore filming the entire time, Kenny the cameraman. It's a great movie because it's a skinny guy. It's Ben Stiller torturing fat kids at every chance he gets. And I love it. The kids make me sick because they remind me of me. He even brings girls over there to dance. And when the girls get desperate enough, they start making out. Then they end that shit and he sends them home. At the end of it, he flips out and they have to chain his ass to the barn. Heavyweights is at the top of the list. I think you can argue that Heavyweights may be the best summer camp movie of all time. And they'll still be talking about Heavyweights in 20 years because it's that good of a movie. And if you want to see something scarier than Boz's pick, go look up a picture of Goldberg after he got arrested.
Yeah, I forgot about him.
What a piece of shit.
I forgot about him.
He's awful.
Well, that dude had a good career for like, what, a 5-year span, something like that?
He had a good 3 to 5 years. Yeah, and I'll talk about that when I get to Heavyweights on mine. But like, yeah, you're right, Boz. There was a group of those kids from like 92 to 95 that was in every movie and every TV show.
Everything, yeah.
All right, back to you, Blake.
Good movies.
My next one is going to be Ernest Goes to Camp. And if anybody's been following the show, all 10 million of you, you know how I feel about Jim Varney. Ronnie, I've been going through this thing, man, for like the last week and a half. I've watched every commercial that he's done on YouTube. I've watched every interview Jim Varney's done. I watched a homemade biography about him.
Who homemade it?
I think it was the nephew,
Tim Varney.
People go into his gravesite. I've been watching that on YouTube for some odd reason. Yeah, just going through a big Jim Varney hole, and I can't not have Ernest Goes to Camp on this, even though I hadn't seen it in years, and it's not my fault. You really can't find this movie anywhere. I just think it's a great story. It's a great Ernest story. Ernest is an underdog. He's hard not to like. Everybody knows a guy like Ernest, a guy that thinks he knows everything, but actually doesn't know anything. But he's still a good-hearted person. You know, he's working in this series. He's working as a janitor / maintenance man at the camp, and he really wants to be a counselor real bad. And this camp gets in Camp Kikiki gets in a bunch of troubled teens or kids or whatever you want to call them, and so they put Ernest in charge of them. And of course,
which is bullcrap if you think about it, because the rest of these campers had to pay a lot of money to go to this really great camp. And the state just decides they're going to send these 6 assholes and ruin everybody else's good time by sending these shitheads that don't know how to act to Camp Kikiki. They're going to say, hey, look, you broke the law. You got no parents. We're going to send you to Camp Kikiki to have some fun.
Kikiki. Spell that for me.
Kikaee.
Missing a couple of Ks. I
think we're missing a K. Yeah, at least one.
Kikaee.
Exactly.
But yeah, Boz, they make Ernest look bad. Ernest ends up getting fired. And also Ernest finds a stupid Indian, Iron Eyes Cody or some shit like that. This was his last movie. He's the famous Indian who cried because people were throwing shit out the window and
Somebody threw their Sonic bag at him and placed down on the side of the road.
Littering on the road.
He did that.
But Ernest convinces the Indian to sign over the camp to this construction company. And the kids realize that, they've been jerks, and they work together with Ernest
We're not leaving.
To battle these construction guys and get the camp back. And Ernest has the power of Indians inside of him, and he's able to dodge bullets and shit at the end. It's a great movie.
Yeah. Okay. I'm skipping over you because this is also on my Mount Rushmore. It was going to be my next one too. Jim Varney's great. This movie's great. The scenery in this movie is fantastic. At the end of it, the guy that's doing the mining company gets fed up with it. And after Ernest and them have shot toilets and let turtles drop from the sky to attack the workers, he gets out with a rifle and fires 3 at Ernest. And at the very beginning of the movie, they showed some Native American on a cross, and they were throwing axes and arrows and stuff, and it all missed him. And they said, if you were true of heart, if you were brave, the arrow will miss you and the rock will miss you. And at the end, this dude fired off 50 shots, and they all missed Ernest. And Ernest walked up and put his finger in the barrel. And then the camp was saved. Somehow they got an injunction, and the chief, who can't speak English somehow, and signed away the rights to the camp, is going to get the camp back. So that's the second one on my Mount Rushmore.
And
it's a great movie.
It is. I think Ernest ends up having sex with
He does.
Wow.
So Ernest changes his luck at the summer camp.
He wanted the kids to get their merit badge on, so he had to show them how to do it.
I hate that we can't find this movie anywhere, because I've seen this movie, but I mean, it's been, mid-90s. I do know I liked it because I loved all his movies. I really did. I liked the Halloween one, I liked the Christmas one. Look at that. There it is right there. What's the back look like?
That's what he asked her. He can't hear you, boss. He don't have shit on his head.
Oh, God.
How many medals you got back there now?
I don't know. 12?
Can we make a short with you presenting all the medals?
We'll do it. I'll do it.
All the medals are for edit.
I got this one for E. What's your next one, boss?
All right, I kind of got a problem with mine, y'all, because I've got 4, obviously, and y'all have said 2 of them.
Yeah.
So that's the way it goes, though. But I'm gonna go with Friday the 13th. I know I don't know about Ronnie. I figure Ronnie's got this on there. I don't know. I know Blake does, though.
Wrong.
So yeah, I mean, classic, obviously.
What's it about?
A mom, surprisingly, killing some kids for not being,
for screwing.
Basically, I guess that's it.
The only guts that get beat around here are mine.
The best way to describe that movie is that the cook at a summer camp gets mad at Kevin Bacon and kills everybody.
She was a cook?
She's a cookie. Oh, she was cooking when she should have been watching Jason.
Mm-hmm. That's fact.
Mixing them eggs up.
Seen this movie, though. Everybody's seen this movie, though, right? I mean,
he took a straw out to the lake and started trying to drink it. Didn't work out well for him.
I got a question, though, for you.
All right, shoot.
Is this technically a summer camp movie?
Yeah. Everybody gets killed at the summer camp.
Well, they're there.
Well, they do get killed at a summer camp.
They're there a week before it opens to get it ready. But, for the kids are coming.
So yes, it counts. It qualifies.
Well, it was one of the first. I see what
you said. Ronnie had rules at the beginning. There's no kids in this, but he did say that teenagers count. College kids count.
Yeah.
My next one is Friday the 13th, Part 2. And the reason I have Part 2 over Part 1 is because Part 2 is probably my favorite sequel in the whole franchise.
Quite possibly one of the best horror movies ever.
Can I finish?
My bad.
I think this is quite possibly one of the best horror movies ever. It's got some of my favorite characters in Paul and Jenny and Jason.
Really?
Introduction to Jason. Lots of screwing, lots of nudity, beautiful scenery, lots of daytime, lake action, woods. And, it's just a typical horror movie. It's a great summer camp movie. It really is.
Do you like this better than the first one?
I'm going to repeat what I said at the beginning when you weren't listening. This is my favorite movie in the franchise.
You said favorite sequel.
But do you
Did I
like
say that?
Do you like it, Blake?
I do like this movie, Ronnie and Boz.
Dude.
There's a reason I picked this over all the other ones is because I love it with all my heart.
All right, my other two have already been said. Sleepaway Camp and Heavyweights.
So you've got your okay. So we're calling it right now. Boz has his Mount Rushmore.
I've got my
already
Mount
listed,
Rushmore. And I'm very interested to hear y'all's because I know, especially you, Ronnie. I know you've seen way more summer movies than I have. There's a couple on your. I know you have. There's a couple on your list that I've never seen.
I've slayed them all.
Guys, girls. Come on.
What is that?
I'm actually watching. I'm trying to find one right now for me and Blake to do, and I can't find it anywhere. It's called Party Camp 1987. That looks like it's amazing.
Yeah, I saw it when I was looking up summer camp movies, and I can't believe that one has.
I can't
flipped
find
off our. Yeah, I mean,
I can't find it anywhere on YouTube. I guess I would get Tim to try to find us a download, but he's mad at us right now because we crapped all over his Godzilla-a-thon because that video was awful. We got about 30 minutes into it, and we just stopped.
We just quit.
He's like,
you just stopped it.
Yeah,
you just said, "All right, this is bad. Let's quit."
Yeah, I had to Portnoy it and say, "No, we can't do this, and we're just going to switch."
Who's your third president, Ronnie?
My third president? Yeah. So I didn't want to pick a horror movie, but when it all came down to it, I actually wanted it to be a viable list of summer camp movies that I really loved. So I went with Friday the 13th Part 6 as the next one on my list. Takes place at Camp Forest Green, formerly Camp Crystal Lake. It's a great movie. Tom Matthews, the chick that plays Megan, the sheriff. There's actually kids at the camp, and they're involved in it at the very end when Jason comes busting through the wall or the door, whatever it was, to try to get them. And at the end, he comes through comes out the window. It's a great movie. It's fun. It's not totally dark the entire time. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It's got a great soundtrack, and it's one of my most favorite movies of all time. So the third one on my list is Friday the 13th Part 6.
That's a really good pick, Ronnie. I got a question for you, and really think about this. Part 3, 4, and 5, are those considered summer camp movies?
Part 5 is not going to be considered a summer camp movie because it takes place at a mental institution. It's a halfway house mental institution. Part 4 is not considered a summer camp movie because they live on the lake. Part 3 is the same thing. Summer camp movie has to be you were sent to camp and there's people there taking care of you.
Very good. I agree 1,000%. I just wanted to get your thoughts on it because even if you're talking about the kids that aren't Tommy Jarvis in Part 4, they're just renting a cabin and staying there. Yes. They're not there to work or anything.
Yeah, they're just like
which
Airbnb.
Is weird. Nobody never talks about that. Like they're just there to hang out. They're not there to work or anything.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, like in chronological order, Ronnie, because 2, 3, and 4 take place within 3 days of each other. They're showing up to this lake at what you would think would be the same time kids are supposed to be there for a summer camp. Plus, we got into the discussion of how big is Crystal Lake. Like, if you say it's like a 30 or 40 mile lake, that stretches hundreds and hundreds of acres, then it's kind of believable that they could be cleaning this up on the other side, and Jason's wandered to the other side of the lake where people actually live.
Right.
But what's the deal? The whole point was supposed to be Camp Crystal Lake was cursed. And Jason was going to get the people at the camp. Why is he roaming around killing regular people like the Jarvises and the teens that rent out the house? Why is he messing with Harry and Edna, whatever his name was, at that store? Yeah.
Great questions. My number one on my list is going to be Heavyweights. And, both you guys have mentioned it before. This movie, I feel like, is top tier. Anytime a movie starts off with school finally ending, kids are excited to be out of school, and then they immediately get sent to summer camp, it's going to be awesome. And like me and Boz said, if you're a mid-'80s baby like us, and you kind of grew up in the early '90s, all these kids in this movie you recognize. I mean, whether it was, in the movies that they were all in, like Sandlot and Mighty Ducks, and all of, and the TV shows like Boy Meets World, and all. I mean, they were in everything together. And you think about it, Boz, and he was probably too old at the time, but I do think about this a lot because I'm a loser. The red-headed kid from Son-in-Law and from what else is he in, Ronnie? Help me out.
Big Green.
The Sandlot. He's the catcher in the Sandlot, boss. Who said Big Green? You know what I'm talking about? Ham Porter.
Catcher in the Sandlot.
You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me.
Oh yeah.
That redheaded kid. He looks exactly the same now.
Oh yeah.
It's really amazing to me that he didn't get put in the Mighty Ducks or in Heavyweights. I don't know.
You think he's older than the other kids?
I think he is. I think he is because he in 92 or 93 in Son-in-Law, he was probably 13 or 14. So by the time
I don't remember him in Son-in-Law.
Yeah, he's the little brother. But yeah, Heavyweights is a great movie. Ronnie said pretty much covered everything. Ben Stiller's Psycho.
Well, the main guy that everyone likes, I don't know his name. The guy
Gerald Gardner.
Guy was also in Addams Family. Did he ever do anything else?
Okay, so I think y'all are getting confused on the guys. Like the main kid, Gerald Gardner. No, he ended up doing something recently. He's actually skinny now. If you'll Google him, he's actually a skinny, good-looking guy. But you know, in Guardians of the Galaxy Part 2, when they digitized Kurt Russell onto a younger body, that's actually Gerald Gardner's body.
That was Kurt Russell. He didn't need no damn digitize.
I'm being dead serious too. That's him, boss. He's actually he's in shape now. But the rest of those kids went on to do jack shit.
They did, but man, they had a good run. No doubt about it.
Blake, you ready for my number one?
Sure.
Meatballs 2, Blake.
This is the recency bias, boys. That's all this is. We just reviewed Meatballs 2 yesterday. That's all this is.
I've never seen any of these movies.
You're lucky.
Dude, it's like this.
They're that bad?
It's not number one. It's on my Mount Rushmore. Heavyweights, without a doubt, is higher than Meatballs 2. Meatballs 2, by the way, if you want to hear about Meatballs 2, go check out our review of Meatballs 2. We did a good, bad, and ugly that should be out by the time I get this bad boy edited and out there. So go check it out. You'll learn everything you need to know about Meatballs 2. It's great, okay? But no, I don't think Meatballs 2, Blake, is the greatest summer camp movie of all time. So you can't hit me with the recent bias on this. I love this movie. I think if I had to rank my movies, Ernest Goes to Camp would be the top. Heavyweights would be number 2. Jason Part 6 would be number 3. And then Meatballs 2 would be at the bottom of my list. It would be number 4 out of 4 on my Mount Rushmore. But Meatballs 2 is fun. You got an alien. You got a bunch of kids. You got a kid that's crippled that forgets he's in a wheelchair at the end of the movie and stands up and walks to the window to see the alien leave. You got Rocky 3 style boxing. You got magic guys flying around. You got Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds in it. You got the music teacher from Saved by the Bell. You got John Larroquette. You got a fat cook trying to cook a horse. You got a brain-beaten CTE boxer named Boomer. You got Richard Mulligan walking around tearing up scenery. This movie is fantastic. And I need to bring up the fact that Pee Wee Herman's in the movie as a bus driver still doing his Cheech and Chong character. So it's great.
He made that sound so much better than what it really is.
Well, what is the story? What's the plot of this movie?
Yeah, Ronnie, go ahead, Ronnie.
The first one, do they have anything to do with each other?
No, Boz. Okay, so Boz, if you followed the content, you would know in the episode we talked about this movie was made called Summer Camp, or it was going to be called Call Me Meathead because the alien's name was Meathead. But they were looking to make a sequel to Meatballs 2. And after they filmed this movie, the company just bought this movie and slapped Meatballs 2 on it to the point where the director and Bill Murray was out there openly campaigning. We have nothing to do with Meatballs 2. So guys don't get tricked into it. And they did the same thing with Meatballs 3. And I'm pretty sure they did the same thing with Meatballs 4. They just bought another movie and slapped the name on it. But you just want to know the plot of the movie. So you've got Camp Patton, which is the military camp, and you got Camp Sasquatch, which is the fun camp. Camp Patton buys the lake rights, and Camp Sasquatch wants to get the lake rights back. At the end of the summer, they have a big fight called Champ of the Lake. It's a boxing match.
Oh, I think
so he puts his camp against the lake rights, And that's how it's decided. In the meantime, you got an alien that got dropped off from outer space for summer camp, and he's hanging out with a bunch of these kids. You got Scott Baio wannabe that he could either go to jail or he could go to summer camp. So they let him go to summer camp, and he's there getting reformed. You got counselors trying to hook up. Everything's got. John Larroquette is a gay person in the military, and he's always lisping, and that's causing the main general to go nuts every time. Who did I hear a lisp?
Boz, you gotta love how in the 80s you had a choice to go to jail or go work with kids at a summer camp.
Yeah.
So it's
a
great
reform
Boz, and it's free right now on YouTube if you want to watch it. It's free on Amazon Prime if you want to watch it. Meatballs 2, you won't regret it. It's great. So now let's recap real quick. My Mount Rushmore of summer camp movies. Ernest Goes to Jail. Heavyweights. Friday the 13th, Part 6, mainly because I couldn't think of another non-horror. And Meatballs 2. Blake, what'd you have?
I had Heavyweights. I had Sleepaway Camp.
Angela.
I had Friday the 13th, Part 2. Oh, Ernest Goes to Camp.
Boz, what'd you have for yours? We all had the same movies.
Heavyweights. I think we all had that one right. So it's got to be clearly the winner if there's a winner. Sleepaway Camp, Fear Street, 1978, and the OG Friday the 13th.
All right,
now, there are better movies out there that I just haven't seen. I've never seen Wet Hot American Summer, and everybody says it's a classic. I put The Burning on our 31 Days of Horror list. I gave that to Ronnie because it was recommended by Frank over at TSL. They say it's a great movie. I really want to watch it, and I didn't know it was a summer camp movie till it popped up on my list. Yeah, there's quite a few. I've never seen Camp Nowhere, which Ronnie just said it was terrible. There's something called Space Camp I found.
Space Camp looks awesome.
I really want to see Space Camp because it's got Lamar from Revenge of the Nerds in it. It's got Joaquin Phoenix in the 80s.
Yeah, I mean, what's better than a bunch of kids that go to space camp and then accidentally get shot into space and have to figure out a way to get home?
But is that summer camp?
Yes, it's a summer camp. It's a summer space camp, just like there were some summer computer camps and summer band camp. I wanted to know if I could put outdoor camps. I wanted to know if I could put American Pie 2 on here because the chick's in band camp during the movie, and he has to go rescue her.
Yeah, that would have worked.
At the same time, though, if I can put American Pie 2 on here,
you want to put a fifth president on there?
It takes the place of one of these. I'll take Jason off the list, put American Pie 2. Look, we got to do American Pie 2, Blake. That movie's great. Okay. But I left a couple off. Blake, we should have put Cheerleader Camp on here. That would be great.
That's a good one.
With Big Guy's ass in that window going through there.
Let's see. I'm just going to go through a list, and y'all interrupt when you want to. There's one called Final Girls.
No.
Listen, I ain't gonna lie. I like this. What's the Olsen twins? I really liked that when I was a kid.
It Takes Two.
It Takes Two. I really liked that as a kid. It probably doesn't hold up though.
Lindsay Lohan had one too, where it was her and another Lindsay Lohan. Sister Act? No, Parent Trap.
The Parent Trap. Yeah. You got Bloody Murder. You got Party Camp, Bloody Summer Camp, Summer Storm, The Burning, Addams Family Values.
Never saw it.
Summer Camp Massacre, Daddy
Moonrise
Day Camp.
Kingdom.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that one. The Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah.
Oz. It seems to be high on everybody's list, sort of like Wet Hot American Summer. And don't get me wrong, the guy that plays the cook in Wet Hot American Summer is great, and there's certain skits in Wet Hot American Summer that are funny, but overall, it gets way too much love. Kim Marino's great, by the way.
I've seen two lists, and this same movie was in the top two of both of them.
Meatballs 2.
Beverly Hills.
See, that's the thing. I grew up on Troop Beverly Hills. Had the chick Shelley Long from Cheers in it, and a bunch of girls. But this is not a summer camp movie because all they're doing is some kind of summer competition with other troops, and they got to make it through the woods or some shit. It's not like at a true summer camp. I don't think. I get that movie mixed up with the movie with Shelley Long and Bette Miller where she has to do like the running split.
Hello Again?
No, it's not Hello Again. It's like Brewster's Millions. No, Outrageous Fortune. That's the name of it. She does like a split and both legs are like this right here behind her. across this long thing. And Peter Coyote's a bad guy. Spoiler alert if you hadn't seen it. Anyway, I guess we need to wrap this up. Boz,
yes.
Boz, are you in for 31 Days of Horror or not?
Oh, yeah, dude. I love 31 Days of Horror.
Okay, so.
I always have.
They just don't love the other shit we do.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, you're like me then?
No.
You'd rather just do October all year long?
Dude, Ronnie, I'm telling you, I will do a movie this weekend for October to get it, already knocked out. I'm ready.
God,
you ready?
I got to see the list, though, so I guess I'm technically not ready.
You better hurry up and look at the list because Ronnie's been booking people like crazy.
I'll be ready.
That's a good movie.
All right, Boz. It's always great when somebody from the intro, it's actually a founding member of this show, actually shows up to put in work.
What's the weather over there, Boz? You're wearing a long sleeve today.
It's like a burn victim. He's always got long sleeves on. He's always cold.
I can't show you my arms.
He's tatted up. Hit us in the comments, guys. Tell us.
Boz has Ronnie, Boz has the tattooed on his arm.
It is. What are your favorite summer camp movies? Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button if you want to. Support us on Patreon. Blake, we've got like a ton of people that's diving into the Patreon. I guess giving them the option to donate $0 and still be a Patreon was a good move. But people are being very generous. They're donating up to $2 and $3.
That's the key. Right. We get a couple of hundred in there, and then we change it to now. Y'all got to pay.
Now you got to pay $100 a piece.
You got to pay to get out.
Boz, we love you.
Love you. Can't wait for the next one.